the first thing I'm present to is, and this is why, like when you brought up pontificate and I said I look words up,
Mm,
I think words are incredibly powerful
yes.
because they are the veil between the positive and the negative.
Right.
Because yes, it's like you're walking and there's a certain amount of energy in your body,
Mm-hmm.
but the difference between anger
Mm,
and joy
mm.
is really just the difference of how you're describing that experience. And it's so surreal to even say that, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
still human. Like there's a lot of times where I'm immersed in my anger and then
Yes.
people are like, be happy and it's like,
Yeah.
fuck,
Yeah.
no, I'm not gonna be angry.
Just
Oh,
change
just
your
change.
experience.
Yeah, change your language, call it
Ah,
joy. And it's
ah,
like, oh, and be a liar?
yeah.
And and that's the other aspect of it, of like this the power of a human being. I also have a very specific definition. Like for me, the only thing I need to be worried about in terms of lying is if I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm the only one. My definition of lying is the intent to deceive,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't even make sense. Like it does because I do lie, but I do lie on purpose, right? It's fun to prank somebody or
Mm-hmm.
with your significant other,
Mm-hmm.
know that they're expecting a certain reaction from you
Mm-hmm.
and giving them a different one on purpose to see how they'll react. Um, But inherent with that too is if they call you out on being mischievous, which is
Mm-hmm.
just the quick slide into evilness,
Mm-hmm.
you're not afraid to admit it, which
Mm-hmm.
means you can get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but but also specifically when people say, "Oh, that person lied," it's like I don't know their intention.
Right.
I rarely know my intention.
Mm-hmm.
So why am I trying to worry about what I think they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
And that because also the definition of evil is like, okay, so wait, you're telling me they actually have a better solution for us, but because they're evil, they're hiding the good solution and giving us a bad solution
Mm-hmm.
just to piss us off and then deal with us being pissed off at them. That doesn't make any sense. It's much more prevalent that they are either ignorant
Mm-hmm.
and which borderlines on stupid, but to me, ignorance is true, like not knowing.
Yeah.
Like they're just trying to do what they're doing from a good perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, at the end of the day, like there was a program I did years ago where I learned this idea of how our presence and our language affects things.
Yeah.
And the guy leading the course, he would write on a chalkboard and he would talk to us and he goes, so here's what I'm actually, right? So the whole weekend he's talking and he goes, but if you take the talking away, here's what I'm doing. And he would go out to us and he'd go like that. And then he'd turn around and he'd make a motion on the board and he'd turn around and go like that. And it's like, yeah, effectively we're just doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And yet how we interpret that internal thing, which then affects how we interpret the external thing,
Mm-hmm.
then it really creates what you would call your inner world, which is the world. Because the state of people and how at peace they are and whether they're complaining or whether they're cooperating.
Mm-hmm.
Because I also find that funny how people say like, oh, the world is competitive. And it's like, yeah, but competition is also cooperative. Like, as much as you have two teams as adversarials, they are in sort of a weird dance together.
They are, sure.
And without the one team, you don't have the dance. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have the game.
Or the evolution of, becoming better
Exactly.
and so
Because
on and so forth.
it's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, humans are still possible. It's capable for them to do bad things, but
Mm.
there's more good going on.
Yeah.
Like we trust each other in so many different ways with money and safety um and it's like, yeah, we're still working on it. But again, that fundamental bias
Mm.
of can and another thing I learned from the coaches, which was um and this was my introduction to meditation, which
Mm.
is can you get back to that neutral point?
Right.
Because if you are having a quote unquote bad day or negative experience, to
Mm-hmm.
jump to positive is like a really big gap. But it's like, well, can you just get to that point where you can stop judging it negatively?
Mm-hmm.
which is can also be quite difficult. Like you were
Yeah.
saying it's like in meditation, I find meditation so funny because it's so many people get started and it's like I'm not supposed to think.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, if you sit still, all you're gonna notice is your thoughts. You're gonna notice that you're thinking most of the time.
Yeah. And there's a
And
lot
it's
of crazy stuff that goes on in there, right? So,
yeah.
but like you said, coming back to that neutral space is it's extremely effective. And also, you know, becoming that observer, the observer of like, I'm having a bad day,
Yeah.
or the observer of like, I'm having a great day. And why is this triggering me? And why am I upset? And why do I have these thoughts? I think that's what meditation helps you with, like pulling back and looking at it from more of like an ego's perspective and realizing that all these things are happening within you, all these emotions, all these thoughts, but you don't necessarily have to like throw out your lasso and hang on to those. You could just be like, okay, bye bye, like, and and in that, starting to realize that there is a difference between you and the stuff that appears to be you, your inner world, or what you referred to it as before, which I thought was really nice, which becomes your reality, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, because it's I can't remember which guru, but he wrote a book and it's only like 40 pages, but it's all that you question the I. Like
Mhm.
whenever you're looking at an experience,
Yeah,
you look at who is the person that you say you are that's having that experience.
yeah,
And that will get you in touch with that observer.
I know.
Um, and I first got introduced to that too as a golfer,
Yeah,
this idea of control.
yeah,
And some coaches said, "What can you control on the golf course?"
yeah.
And I got to watch a group of people do it, and it was so funny to
Mm.
watch them, but also really fun to see people that can embody the space of like listening to the answer that's not the answer. Like, well, I can control my golf swing, right? I move my body. I can, and then they would say, well, how come you don't shoot 65 every day? If
Exactly.
you can control that, why is it so sporadic?
Yeah,
Oh, I guess I
yeah.
can't control
Right.
that.
And if you can control your thoughts, how come they're happening all the time, without you being able to stop them or start them or think exactly what you want to think at any given time? That doesn't work either, right?